Hello and welcome to the Better in Business podcast. This is number 4 in the 7-part series. So if you haven't listened to 1, 2, and 3, you need to go back and do those. And it is well worth your while because this 7-part series, I want you to think of as like a little mini course. It's business fundamentals and it is the 7 deadly cash flow sins. Okay. So in today's episode, sin number 4 is around payables. We're going to jump into that now, but please, if you haven't listened to 1, 2, and 3, please go back and do that now. You've tuned into the Better in Business podcast, and I'm your host, Jeannie Savage. I'm a multi-award winning business veteran and head of the Strategic Bookkeeper Network. My network of strategic bookkeepers is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs do better in business. This podcast aims to challenge your thinking. If you're not thinking the right way, how can you act the right way? Each episode will dive into key drivers of success, which I also call the rules of the game. Learn the rules and play to win. Let's go. I like to start every episode by reminding you that it is globally recognized that pillar number 1 for success is up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping, which is the only way you can see how your business is performing in terms of profit and cash. If your books aren't right up to date, visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper. Fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper. Bookkeeping is a cost, whereas strategic bookkeeping is an investment that averages a 10x return on the fees. Okay, my friends. So it's about 11:35 and you may have heard me talk about this before, you may not. The Science of When, or the book called When by Daniel Pink. I've just done the Blinks on it, which is the Blinkist app or the Headway app where you can do a 10 to 15 minute summary. I can tell you right now, my brain capacity at 7, 8 a.m. this morning was so different to what it is at 11:30. And the Science of When really explains that. I'll absolutely do another podcast on mechanics, mindset, productivity, because this is about productivity. And I wanted to share that with you because absolutely I'm recording this series all at once. So it's always great to batch record podcasts, but also I'm in the zone with this business fundamentals series, right? So I just want to bring it all to you all at once and then publish these podcasts as we do fortnightly. So I'm going to recommend right now that you absolutely check out the Science of When on one of those apps, whether it's Blinkist or Headway, yeah? And educate yourself ongoing. Right now, I'm listening to the audiobook, which is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And my friend was telling me you can get audiobooks on Spotify Premium. So here I was buying them all through Audible, but oftentimes they're on Spotify Premium. So that's really cool too. Successful business owners educate themselves, my friends. So continue to educate yourself. If you want any book recommendations from me, shoot me an email and I'll share a list with you. Now let's get into that number 4 deadly sin, which is payable. So I'm going to relate a little bit to the last episode, which is receivables. Okay. So payables is the money you owe people. So the money you have to pay people. Okay. And you will have listened to the last episode. And so in a very similar way or the same way, this is about paying out after your customers pay you. So we're going to keep this episode fast and furious because based on the last episodes, this is going to make much more sense, okay? And when I save you time and get you impact in less time, I don't even charge you anymore, right? I want to give you bang for buck impact in the least amount of time possible, okay? So let's do that now so you can actually move on to taking action, even if that action is reaching out to your strategic bookkeeper or reaching out to me to connect with the strategic bookkeeper, okay? So you've listened to episode 1, 2, and 3, and so you understand this concept of the cash flow gap happening when you pay out to your staff, your suppliers, the tax man, yourself, your spouse, everyone, after your customers pay you. That's where the cash flow gap happens, exactly what I said in the last episode. So all you need to do is think about the payable sin in this way, okay? So I'm going to read from my little slide because that's going to help me help you. So I once met a stressed out furniture factory owner running a profitable business that was always running out of cash. putting him at risk of shutting up shop. He was paying his staff weekly on a Monday, whereas he should and could have been paying them fortnightly on a Thursday, which would have given him 10 more days of cash in the bank and a better night's sleep. Okay. So basically, with your payables, depending on the business that you're running, like some of us run pretty simple businesses where we pay for things as we buy them. But then you've got some tradies who might have a 30-day account with Bunnings and so on. One of the payables sins, though, that most people don't think about is around wages. Okay. So when entrepreneurs start a business, the way they think of payroll and wages is so different to how a bookkeeper thinks of it. So they think, well, I'll bring on a staff member, yay. And that staff member will work for me for the week. And then I'll pay them on the Monday. Even worse, sometimes they pay them on the Friday, like they work Monday to Friday and they pay them on a Friday. Now, when you're small, you may not notice it as much. If you are collecting money from your customers after you pay even that one staff member, you probably will start to notice the bank account change, and you may start to feel some stress and kind of wonder, where's all the cash? Yeah, where's all the cash? Because you don't think about this. You don't know this when you go into business. So for me, the wages one, the payroll one is massive. And smart operators, okay, and the way that I pay my team across two businesses, smart operators operate by having a smart payroll calendar and pay day, set up to give them positive cash flow and to make sure that they're paying their staff after they collect the money from the customers. Or if you're in an industry of business where you kind of have to run some accounts, you still end up like the furniture factory maker, right? He does end up doing that. You still end up with 10 more days or more cash flow in the bank to be able to pay your staff. Okay. So absolutely the best payroll calendar and payday is your calendar is Monday to Sunday over 2 weeks, okay, a fortnight, and then payday is on the Thursday. And if any of that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. It's going to make sense to your strategic bookkeeper. They are all set up to help you with that. So in terms of scoring yourself, the questions are, so are you paying everyone around you before your customers pay you? If you are, score yourself a 0. Are you paying out everyone after you get all the money in from your customers? If you're doing that, score yourself 1, okay? And then just have a think about how you could go about extending the time before you pay anyone, okay? So for example, with regard to how you pay your tax obligations, my accountant tends to lodge my tax return in May every year after that is it's almost a year right after the tax year closes, and that's normal for a lot of businesses. That said, because my cash flow is so positive, and actually I just like to get the money out of the bank, accountants will often say, reserve money for tax in a separate bank account, and that's absolutely ideal, and you can get interest on that money. That is fantastic. I actually just pay the tax office on a weekly basis, and I kind of treat them like a bank account that doesn't give me interest, because do you know what? That system works really well for me. The money's not in my bank account or in any bank account, and it just works really well. That said, recently I changed that system. I am really savvy around all that stuff. I'm very cash flow positive. And so what I do now actually is I only pay the tax department when it's due, and I leverage points to do that. So I've got money going into another bank account. I pay that money onto a points reward credit card like the Qantas Premier Platinum. And then I use the pay.com.au platform, which I love, in order to get tons and tons and tons of points. And as at today, I've got 500,000 points that I can use to fly around the world or upgrade. Okay, so lots of smart systems there. Can't remember if I've done a podcast on that one, but if you want one, you can email me and I'll do that on demand. Okay, so actually packed a lot into this little podcast. It is around the payables deadly sin. I think I've been clear, and that this is coming off the back of the other 3. So it should be really easy for you to decide, could I improve my payables systems? Could I improve my wages? Am I lacking knowledge that Jeannie has just informed me that really I need to take action? Just score yourself a 0. and take action. And absolutely, as always, I recommend that you fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper, even if what that is that you're currently working with a strategic bookkeeper, but you haven't allowed them to upgrade you from basic bookkeeping to strategic bookkeeping. When you do that, that's when the magic happens, my friends, okay? And it wouldn't serve you for me not to tell you that, so I'm telling you that. So I'm going to see you in the next episode when we dive into sin number 5. I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. I would love to help you start doing better in business right now by giving you a free little ebook. It's a how-to guide. It's called The 7 Deadly Cash Flow Sins. And also I've developed a business health check for you. It's super high value. Both are available at betterinbusiness.global. If you would like to fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper to start enjoying a return on investment and get the support you need to optimize your business cash and profit and time wealth, simply visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper near you. I'll see you in the next episode.